Hi, I'm Tina Ann Middleton, author of the Forestville series. I'd like to welcome you today to the writing journey, where we inspire and encourage each other in the craft of writing. Today we're talking about the importance of research. We'll be right back. Whether you are writing fiction or nonfiction, research is vital to keeping your book accurate and realistic. How do you research? Where do you go? Research was never my strong suit. I had to learn. Now, before I get started, let me encourage you, if you like the videos that you're seeing, please subscribe to the writing journey. Ring the bell so that you get notifications of future videos. Please be sure to follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and my Amazon author page. So research, how do we do it? There are actually several sources that you can look at. One of them is other books or papers or articles. These are very good for mining information for your book. Now, you can use the internet, but be careful. As we all know, not everything on the internet is the truth. And if you're not really careful, you can really dig yourself into a hole. You have to watch out for false information. People will put just about anything on the internet and swear up and down it's the truth. I would not be surprised to find out that somebody has put beet juice as the cure for acne or something on the internet. So choose your sources wisely. When I went to college and they were telling us what we could use for our research, and they mentioned the internet, what they recommended to us, and this sounds really good to me, is look for reliable places, sites that have .org or .gov. Those kind of things will tend to be more reliable sources than .net or .coms. Now, there probably are some good ones that end with .com or .net, but be very careful. I cannot emphasize that enough. One of my best sources has simply been people, friends and acquaintances who perhaps work in the field of one of my characters in my book, or that would be able to tell me if I'm doing something right in there. I have a friend of mine who is a police officer. So your first responders can be very good sources. Police, firefighters, EMTs. I often will ask my friend to check my writing to make sure that what I'm putting there is true, is accurate. You know, let me think of a good example. When I was getting ready to write my second book, and I took a character from the first book who, because of his activities in the first book, would have had to go to jail. And I asked, because of him helping in this situation, would a judge perhaps just put him on parole? I'm not going to tell you anything more about that because I don't want there to be any more spoilers. But she helps me in making sure that what I'm doing there is correct. Family can be great. We have a daughter who is a martial artist. She is a 3rd degree black belt in Ishinryu karate and a 2nd degree black belt in half circle jiu-jitsu. So anytime I want to ask about martial arts, I ask her because she can advise me. For instance, in my first book, I originally was going to have one of my characters kick the gun out of some thug's hands. And I mentioned that to Kimberly, and she said, no, you don't do that because the gun can go off. Kimberly helped me to keep it accurate and realistic. People in the medical community are very useful, very helpful. I don't want to say useful. I don't want to make it sound like I use them, but they're very helpful. I work in a primary care clinic, and I wanted to find out for my second book if somebody with a head injury would behave in this certain way. So I was able to ask one of our nurses about it. I'm planning not this third book, which is about to be released, but the fourth book will be about a veteran with PTSD. And I will be talking to our medical professionals in mental health to get guidance on symptoms, treatments, and of course there's going to be a dog in the story, so I have to talk to people about therapy dogs and service dogs. But I need to do my research, or this book is going to be completely off the wall. And I don't mean that in a good way. People in the legal profession, if you want to make sure, well, when this person goes to court, is this the way that it would happen? Or is this the way that a lawyer would do his research to defend his client? Is this the way? You get the point. You get the idea. So people in these different professions, and I just mentioned a few. I mean, you could talk to people in banking and retail. Just use your imagination. But they are great sources to help you stay on track and accurate. Now, one thing I would point out, especially if you use a book, a paper, an article, or the internet, be sure that you give credit. And there are books and there are places on the internet where you can learn how to cite your sources. Oh my goodness, when I went to college, that was a big deal. When you did your research, you had to cite your sources. You had to put down where you got your information. This gives credibility to your books. This would probably be especially important with your nonfiction. With fiction, you can get away with a little bit more, but you still want to give credit. I'm trying to remember if I have ever seen where somebody cited. I think they did. Wouldn't hurt. Cite your sources. If nothing else, in your acknowledgments, if you're writing fiction and you've picked somebody's brain, mention them in the acknowledgments. I did. Thank you to my friend Shannon, who helped me keep things straight as far as the police work. Any errors are my own. It's a good idea to add that. I've seen that in other books. Because even with our research, even with the help, sometimes we might make a mistake. And we don't want our sources to be blamed. We would be the ones that made the mistake. But be sure that you give them credit, because without them letting you pick their brains, you might not have been able to keep things accurate. To keep your writing as realistic and accurate as possible, you want to make sure you do your research and do it well. Use the right sources. Be sure you give credit to those who helped you. And one thing I especially want to encourage you to do, keep writing. Have a great week.